All right, I am officially recording so that I can say this again. We do have a YouTube channel, and all of the team calls are being uploaded to the YouTube channel. So I'm going to put the link to our channel up this morning. Not okay. So we're going to talk about posting. We're going to talk about the things. Okay. So if you go to YouTube and you type in Team Meta Movement, you will get our YouTube channel. And I'm trying to see if I can just get a link for the general channel. My channel. Okay. How do I share this? Share. Nope, that's messages. That's not what I want. All right, so I'm gonna add this to our chat box, and then if you let me know if you guys can actually see. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Like if you click on it, does it show up like the actual channel and you guys can see all the videos?
Yes, it's our page.
Okay. So I wanted to check. There's 3 different videos that are currently uploading right now for April. So, oh, team April 3rd just popped up. So that one's up there. That one is, oh, maybe I repeatedly uploaded that one. This is so confusing. These videos take so long to load, and then like sometimes they stop mid-load and then I have to restart the load and I forget, which is why they don't get uploaded. Because for whatever reason, YouTube won't just fully upload a video. It'll stop and it'll just like spin mid-upload, and I'm like, this is unhelpful, but
That was
okay.
Facebook yesterday with my live video. I tried to share it, and all night it kept saying that it was unable to upload, and then it did, like long before the marker went away.
So weird. Well, hopefully these videos upload. If not, I'm gonna have to do this all over again forever until April shows up. All right, so I just wanted to make sure you guys had that channel, so in case it doesn't get shared into the Facebook group for whatever reason, that you guys know there's a YouTube channel and you guys can access the videos there as well. Okay, so announcements. If you are in the Workout Warrior Wellness Studio and you are a founding coach, which would be 3 of us really, Kari, Sable, and myself now running the group. We are doing a UPF focus group starting May 6th, so Ultimate Portion Fix focus group. Now, Sable, you had mentioned that you were going to do the challenge group guide posts in there starting May 6th.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of them. So
It's very overwhelming.
yeah, there's a ton. So yes, I am posting them into the group, but I'm eliminating a few just when it's like go live. We'll just we're not gonna like create like we're not gonna follow it exactly, but yeah,
Okay.
I started to do that last night before Facebook decided to hate me and not save any of them. But I know that we rotate like what is today? Wednesday? Today's Kari's day, my day's Friday, and I think Shakti, your day is on
Monday.
Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want, I mean, I'll still post our, the challenge tracker guide in there, but still feel free to post something else if,
Yeah, I mean,
more
it's kind of like with the
natural.
yoga focus group. Like I just created all those graphics for the yoga focus group and I uploaded them for the full 21 days. So
So
anything that you
still
guys
post it
added
on
were
it, yeah.
bonus, so we could just do that again where Sable's going to program all the challenge group guide, and then anything that we want to add in, we
Mhm.
can, because
I
it's going
think
to,
it's nice because the program guide is it's very educational.
of course.
It looks like the program guide, and anything that we add is a little bit more maybe authentic and natural. And I think the mesh will be good. And Kari, she posted today. I thought it was a good post.
Yeah, just giving people information about what's
Mm-hmm.
upcoming and stuff. Oh, there she
It
is
was
speaking.
perfect. Speak and she shall be.
Yeah. So here's the thing about UPF and 21 Day Fix. When you get UPF, you actually get the reshoot of 21 Day Fix and 21 Day Fix Extreme, which in my opinion is better. So it's a much better program. So if you really want to do 21 Day Fix, I would say get UPF and do 21 Day Fix and 21 Day Fix Extreme real time. You're going to enjoy it so much more because 21 Day Fix gets very repetitive. It gets very repetitive and honestly quite boring because it's the same video you're watching over and over again. So in my opinion, the real time is like next level. Like it's so much more engaging. It's so much more fun. It goes by so much faster. I keep hearing that from everybody, actually. Everybody prefers the real time shoot to the original. So just my 2 cents since I've done them both. I can't even see if these videos have uploaded. YouTube and I are not friends right now. Sorry, guys. Trying to check, make sure videos are getting uploaded, and it's like just stops uploading. It's the most frustrating thing. The reason I've been behind uploading is because of that. Because it'll stop uploading, and then I forget to go back in, delete the video, and re-upload it, and yeah, I just like space out. So that's all me. So for those of you who do have this book, how about it's not like the best sales book you've ever read already? Like first segment, and you're like, why didn't someone hand me this when I started my career with sales? Did you not have that feeling when you started reading this book? Like, all my life, this is really all I needed to understand about sales. I had it all wrong from the beginning.
I mean, right now where I'm at is like a pretty pivotal moment, and reading it is like hearing everything, or I guess reading, but hearing everything that I need to hear, but at the same time being like, shit, like, what have I been doing? Can I switch to this? Can I rewire it all fast enough? Because I still come from this place of like need instead of the place, of like giving and value. And I feel like I do offer those things, but not like the intent is still not as pure as, needed for the whole, harmony to kind of flow. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, yes, this has been like the perfect read the last couple of days, but it's just making me like really sit and like before I do my work and before I sit to, make posts and connect with people, like really sit and do the internal work to make sure like that I'm in this place before I reach out. And it's not easy. Like this book is small, like it's tricky. Like this is like, oh yeah, like you can read this in like nothing, right? Like you read Harry Potter in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no.
This 1.5 pages just stole my soul. Bring it back.
Yes, that's exactly where I'm at.
I just found some food on my bookshelf, and I'm pretty sure it came from my child, but I have no idea what food this is that my child was eating on my desk. Isn't that like parent life? Like what actually is this? Is it poop or is it food? I don't know. I just don't know anymore. I don't know.
I'll just throw it away. I don't even ask. Throw it away.
Let's get rid of it. So
whatever it is, it can't be good.
No, it can't be good, that's for sure. I will say that this whole first section of creating value, when people ask me, and lately I've been getting a lot of entrepreneurs from other businesses approaching me and asking me about me and everything that I've generated from my massage business to this business to, everything else that I do. It's how has it been so successful? And I have to tell you guys that every single thing that was talked about in the first segment of this book about creating value is really the secret to my success, secret to why I've had any amount of success in my businesses has been because I hit upon this about 6 months into Beachbody coaching. For the first 6 months of being a Beachbody coach, I was doing the checklist like a crazy person, but in a very inauthentic way. I was not doing the checklist looking for like how can I connect with people and how can I bring value? It was a lot of like, I have to do these numbers and I'm going to meet these numbers. I'm going to message this person whether I like them or not, whether I connect with them or not. I didn't really care about the quality of my relationships. I was just trying to fulfill a number. And after 6 months of doing that, I hit massive burnout. I mean, I hit a wall, the kind of wall that's like, I hate everything and everyone and I don't want to do this again. And then I said to myself, what actually brings me joy about this business? Like, what do I do online that actually makes me happy? And the response was really simple. I like to go online and just be nice to people. That's like one of the things that brings me the most joy. Celebrate people's successes, congratulate them when they have a baby or when they get married. Support them if they write something like needing some sort of support. So I just started doing that. I really started, I'll never forget, her name is Jamie Lopez, and I met her. I was prospecting her for my Beachbody business, and she was having a really hard night. She had a 2-year-old and a teething baby, and I could just tell by her pose that she was really stressed. So I sent her a message and I said, I see you trying to take care of your kids and, do all these things. And I just want to tell you that you're doing an amazing job. You're an amazing mom from what I can tell. And, just sending you some love. And she wrote me back. She was like in tears. Like she really needed to hear that in that moment. And from that point on, we built this really incredible friendship. And she actually moved to Georgia for a period of time and I got to meet her and hang out with her. And it was really precious. She became a client of mine and she was a discount coach temporarily and then decided to just be a client. And still, sends me friends and sends me referrals and we still have an amazing relationship. And it was because I just wanted to send her something nice because I could tell that she was struggling. I wasn't looking at it like I'm going to send this message and then she's going to like want to buy stuff from me. And then I was just like, she's struggling. I need to send her some love right now. Right. And, everything happened from there. And so if there's one thing, I'm sure the rest of the book is going to be phenomenal, but if there's one thing I can tell you about building a very, very successful business is that it is not and cannot be overstated to say that creating value is the single most important thing you're going to do the whole time you have a business, any business. And this is applicable across the board, whether it's with massage, like what I do, or, in an executive setting, any kind of setting, when you create value for people, when you show them excellence and consistency, that you appreciate them, all the things that they listed in this first chapter, it is inevitable that success finds you because you're in the frequency of abundance. I want you guys, I'm going to tie this into a metaphysical principle real quick because that's my specialty. But I want you guys to notice how these 5 principles that they talk about in this chapter, excellence, consistency, attention, empathy, and appreciation, are all words that are in that same vibration of wealth. Can you guys feel how the words excellence, consistency, attention, empathy, and appreciation have very abundant feelings? They're very abundant. They feel abundant. Right? They feel strong. They feel generous. They feel open. And those are all words that you would ascribe to the feeling of abundance as well. So this is why, from a metaphysical perspective, those 5 things bring wealth. This is why they bring success, because they are literally vibrating at that very same frequency. Okay? It literally cannot be overstated. Like, not enough. that is what brings you success. So I just wanted to throw that little LOA fun fact in there because, that's like my whole world. But anyways, let's talk about some highlighted parts because I sure highlighted. I underlined. I didn't highlight. I underlined. I started highlighting right at that I didn't highlight the introduction as much. I was highlighting right when the chapter 1, create value, or section 1. So I underlined the phrase my pleasure under excellence because this is something that I do with massage in particular. Every time that I finish a session and I'm like, okay, our session is complete, and I walk out and they say, Thank you so much. I always say my pleasure. I have said that from day one of being a therapist. And it does make an impression on the mind of the people that you're working with. It's like, or anytime someone asks me for help and I help them and they say thank you, I say my pleasure. I just trained myself to say that. It makes a very audible difference in the ears of people when they hear that phrase versus you're welcome, right? It's just a slight tweak in syntax, but how do you receive that? Like, even think to yourself, if someone said to you, my pleasure versus you're welcome, how different is that energy, right? When someone says my pleasure, it's like almost like you're being treated like royalty, or you're being given this sense of importance, right? That the other person receives joy from serving you. And I also ask people, how can I serve you? When they ask me a question or they come to me or they want to know more about something I do, I always say, how can I serve you? And a lot of people, they hear that and they get this like kickback about the word serve, right? Like, I'm not a servant. They get this really thing about it. But I am. And I don't have a problem saying that about myself. I am a servant leader, and I am very happy to be a servant leader. I am here to serve. I'm not here to be better than anybody else. I'm not here to be better than, whatever. I'm a servant leader, and I am here to serve. So I'm going to ask you, how can I serve you? Because that is my number one priority in life. So this is another example of how words are really important, and they're really reflective of what you have going on inside of you. Right. And so for me, saying things like, how can I serve you and my pleasure are very, very important parts of my work with people. I want them to know that it is my pleasure to help them and that I am here to serve them. That's very important that people get that across immediately when they communicate with me, no matter what arena they're in. So that's my form of excellence that I bring, that's really simple, that doesn't cost you any money, and it's just a switch in language, but it makes a very big impression on your clients. So yeah, I just wanted to share that bit. I also thought it was cool that the word sail comes from that Latin term, selan, which means to give. I was like, yes, that is so good. I love like language genealogy and stuff. That's like totally my thing. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, it's Old English, not Latin. Old English word salan, which means to give. I love seeing the root of words. I think that's so powerful that that's where that word came from. And I also find it really comical that we've gotten so far away from understanding the root of that word. Like, what we think of selling now is so different than its original intention, its original definition. Someone from our team messaging? No. Anything else from that first segment? Who has an underline? Who has a highlight? Or the MacGuffin? Let's go into the segment 2. The MacGuffin. I didn't know about this term. This term is new to me. I was not familiar with the literary term MacGuffin. It's apparently dubbed by the late British film director Alfred Hitchcock, and it refers to the object around which the whole story focuses. Also having trouble thinking, I provide value. All right, well, let's talk about it then. Because kind of the MacGuffin talks about this. Like, it's not really what you're selling, it's like your story. It's everything around the thing itself. Right? I underlined, but the MacGuffin is not what the story is about. The story is about adding value to other people by touching their lives. So, Kari, let me ask you a question. When you read my posts, how do I give you value? How do you know if I'm giving you value? Or anybody's posts, but I know what I write, so I'm asking about my post in specific. By the way you feel. Okay. And what are the things that I write about, or what words, what language do I use that you connect with that really gives you that feeling? What experiences or words or phrases? You relate, right? Because I write relatable posts, right? Like on purpose. And in fact, feedback I got today, I went to go see my acupuncturist. His wife follows me on social media, and she said, I love how you have this brand and you talk about your business, and then you put in things like your kid sitting on a potty, right? And reading the To Be Mindset manual. And she's like, it's so personal and it's so anti-branding, and it makes it so easy to get to know you. Right? Like, not only are you professional and you have these things that you post about that are professional, but then you include these really personal components of your life that make me feel like I know you. She's like, I love it. That's like anti-branding branding. I'm like, yeah, I don't follow the rules well. That's what I said to her. Right? So same thing I would say for you. Like, if you can tell the value you've received by how you feel and the relatability of what I post, then that's how you know that you're offering value, by the relatability of your post, connecting with another person. Like, notice that the most value that we receive is typically the posts that like make us think, right? Make us question something that maybe we thought we already knew, that make us feel excited, or they want, like, you want to celebrate someone, or maybe they make you feel a little bit of tenderness around something. Maybe someone is sharing something vulnerable and tender, and so you get to feel that same tenderness. For me, creating value is about engaging emotion. That's really what I think it's about, which is why when you just said, I know that you've given me value by how I feel, that's exactly right. When you engage people emotively, it makes a difference, right? And it's very easy to do that. That's not complicated. You know how you do that? By just being a person and talking about your life. Because there are right now components about your life that are challenging. There are right now components about your life that are exciting. There are right now components about your life that are unnerving. Right now, you are living the whole range of human experience, and you are choosing to share it or not share it. That's entirely up to you. Entirely up to you. Your power is in what you are choosing to share, because every single one of us is living the human experience. Right? And it's also how you choose to share, the lens with which you share. It's not about sharing like, here's all of my drama and woe is me. It's about saying like, this is real life. This is what I'm living and this is what I'm learning. Right? That is how you connect with people. Because people out there are all having the same experiences you guys are having. The difference is they're not thinking about it in, what am I learning? They're just treading water in despair. So they're looking to you to set that precedent for them. When they see you ask, what am I learning from this, and share it, then they get permission to ask themselves, what am I learning from this? This is how you create value. Is this resonating? Like, you guys getting what I'm saying? You live your human life and you share what you're learning, and you show people that they have an option to learn from their experiences too. You give them permission by way of writing relatable content to also look at their life with that lens. And that builds trust. That's how that gets built. It's beautiful. And it's really cathartic. It's really healing for you guys too. A lot of y'all are just scared of sharing certain components of your reality. You hold back telling the truths about yourself from a teachable standpoint, from a teachable perspective, because you have thoughts like, nobody cares, what does it matter? Nobody wants to read about this. If I said that to myself, I'd never post anything, to be honest. I just expect that people are going to be happy for me with my new office. I expect everyone's going to want to celebrate me and everyone's going to give a shit. So I'm going to talk about it till the cows come home because I just expect that that's true. How do I also incorporate into that when people do thank me to actually receive that I have given them value? So that part of your work is you feeling worthy. That's a worth component of your work. Like carrying the belief that you are worthy. So right now in TAU, my mastery program, we're doing a belief. We're picking a belief for the month of May and working on that. So I would recommend that you just do that same exercise. Like pick a belief for the month of May around believing that you are worthy of receiving appreciation, that you are a valuable person with a lot of value to share with your world. Write a belief around those terms. You can send it to me and I'll help you word that so it really resonates. And then just repeat that to yourself literally every single day for the month of May. Super powerful work. Deep. Deep stuff. Well, Tanya, you're starting to share more, which is nice to see in your posts. You're beginning to share more about your routines and your habits and what you're doing. And it's a gradual process. Like you're getting there. You're starting to share more personal things. And my sense is that over time, when you're a little bit more beyond this phase of your life that felt very intense, you'll have more space between you and the situation to actually start sharing about it from like a relatable place. I would say that when you're really heavy in the emotion is not the time to post about it. It is not the time to share a relatable story when you are deep in the emotion of it, unless you have a very masterful capacity to separate yourself from the circumstance. Like when I was having a miscarriage, I was able to write about the miscarriage, even in the depth of the emotion, because I have quite frankly mastered my ability to separate myself from circumstance. And I see the difference between the emotion that I'm living and the circumstance that I'm experiencing. But unless you feel confident in that mastery, it's always wiser to just wait for the emotion to pass and then write about the teachable moment beyond the emotion. So you're not writing from a heated place, which is often not the most authentic place from which we can express. I agree with Tanya. Everything she said. But it's important that Kari knows that. We can know that all day long, but that's not ours to know. Like, it doesn't even matter if nobody thanked you, Kari, your whole life. What matters is that you would feel good about what you do. Period. That's the work. So this whole concept of the MacGuffin is really about just giving value and knowing that you, who you are, your story, your journey is the thing that brings people to you. I can't tell you how many people have written me a message and said, I don't know why I feel so compelled to work with you, but I have to in one way or another. Like, how can I work with you? They don't know why they're reaching out to me. They just feel this pull. Like, it's not like a specific thing. Like, it's a lot more common for people to come to me and say, I don't know why, but I need to work with you, than it is to say, I want to work with you in this specific capacity. Like, I want to work with you in this fitness group or in TAU or in whatever. They don't really know why they're messaging me. It's just like this magnetic pull that brings people to me and they just want to connect, right? That's what this whole concept of the MacGuffin is about. Like, it's just about you creating that vortex of energy that people want to be a part of because of the energy. That's really what that whole concept is about. And then you tell them, well, yeah, of course you can work with me like so and so and so. And then the details happen, you know, in the conversation. Picking up what I'm putting down? Making sense. Sable, I'm surprised you don't have any highlights. You usually beat me out on highlights.
I mean, I did highlight a lot of the book, but I just thought I would let the girls have this one.
Tanya doesn't have her book yet.
Mm.
Share away. Giving is the next segment.
Mm-hmm. In that section, I highlighted the discussion on keeping score.
So good.
And it really goes across, you know, like our personal relationships, our business relationships, friendships, partners. I mean, the theory is sound across the board on we would receive more if we did not keep score. Because in keeping score, we are giving with the expectation of receiving something.
Getting.
Well. Yeah.
Like, I did this, so you do this now. And then if you don't do it, I'm going to be pissed. Right? That's the energy. It doesn't work. Like, business is just relationships. Okay? Selling is just relationships. What you do as a Beachbody coach is just relationships. That's literally it. Like, it's funny how the longer I'm a Beachbody coach, the more I realize how much of a big deal I made this when I was like a young coach. Like today I went live. So the first 3 days of this month, I'm doing a live video every day talking about Beachbody coaching, and like that portion of my coaching that's very specific. I'm very targeted for a population of people. I'm really wanting to work with women who have an unhealthy relationship to their body, whether it's like overeating, undereating, whatever that thing is, a distorted perception of self. Those are my people. And that's like what I'm beginning to really target when it comes to my work as a Beachbody coach. And then everything else sort of is like a separate thing that I coach on. But, you know, I went live and I started talking about how I got started as a coach and whatever, and even the post that I made today. And I was so nonchalant about it and so transparent. Like, I was like, yo, listen, I don't give a shit about products and buying products online. Like, I don't care about lipstick or fucking hair stuff or any of that stuff. I'm like the last person that's going to buy that online, to be very honest with you guys. And I said that in my post. The only reason I became such an avid fan of this company and these products and programs is because it saved me so much time on the upfront, and it gave me so much nutrition, so much good information on nutrition in a compact form that I could easily apply right away, from the supplements to the nutrition program. Like, I didn't have to rack my brain to figure things out. And I was very transparent about that. I was like, this is why I love this, because it saved me time. And as a mom, that was very important to me. And then of course I got all of these benefits from it. Like, I lost all this weight and I got super fit and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But really, to be honest with you guys, like, the most important thing for me as a mom is to save myself some time and to feel better, you know, in general in my body. So I talked about how, to me, this business is a complement to everything else that I do. It's so nice to be a therapist and be able to offer people this who are struggling with movement. Like, I know that movement will help them, you know, because I see them struggling in their body, or I know that a quick nutrition tweak will make a difference because I see them struggling in their body. So I'm so much more nonchalant now when I talk about it, and I'm just like very casual and calm, because I realize that this business, like all businesses, is just about relationships, and people respond so much better to that level of authenticity. That's very conversational. That's very like, this isn't a big deal. This is what I do. And that really takes away all of like the stigma you know, of being an online business. Because I don't know about you guys, but I see other network marketing professionals posting online and I want to die. Like, I hate reading their posts. Like, I can always tell when they want to sell me on something, right? And all of their posts sound pretty much exactly the same. When I found Monat, or when I found blah blah blah, my hair came back to life. And if you want to join, get some cash and have good hair, you know, and I'm just like, I want to die. I want to die. Like, I am such an anti-network marketer, which I think has actually been my greatest asset in a network marketing business. It's kind of like when Lisa told me that I was anti-branding branding. She's like, your anti-branding branding is brilliant. And I'm like, my what? You mean me just posting whatever the fuck I feel like posting on a regular basis? Yeah, that's what it's about. I don't have a strategy for what I post. I just post whatever I want to post. And the same thing goes for when I talk about business or I talk about anything. I'm just me. I don't try to make my post sound like great and, you know, these really professional headshots with trees behind me and, you know, whatever. Like, I don't try to do that. I'm just real. And frankly, I think that has been why I've had success, because people can see right through the bullshit and they can see when you're going to go pitch them and they can see when you're being disingenuous. And when you're not trying to do any of those things, people want to learn because they're like, why is she not being like weird or pushy or like creepy? I'm like, you know, they're like, maybe I should talk to her because she seems pretty normal or she's funny or she's cool. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, this is about, so that segment in giving where he says the same with appreciation, acknowledgement, wisdom, attention, and care. When you keep it to yourself, it doesn't build interest, it withers. In fact, the only way you can get more of it is to continuously give it away. If that sounds familiar, it should. That's not only how giving works, it's also how love works. That is the economics of all genuine relationships and therefore the dynamic that lies at the heart of sales. The more you give away, the more you have. So my aim on social media or when I'm live is to just give away humor, give away love, give away helpful, useful tips, give away guidance, give away insight. I'm always looking to see how much more I can teach, how much more I can offer, how much simpler can I make someone's life, how much easier can I make someone's health and fitness, how much easier can I make their relationship to food. Those are the things that are on my mind. And because that's what I'm looking to do, people respond. Okay. So just know that this is legit. This principle of giving is legit. I really love the segment on money because y'all know what I highlighted in that segment. Y'all already know. Want to know what I highlighted?
The whole thing.
On page 30, there is an assumption, often unspoken, that there exists a fundamental contradiction between self-interest and altruism. That is, you may be acting for others' benefit or for your own, but not both at once. If you accept this treacherous dichotomy, then every time you pick up the phone or walk across a room to talk with a prospective customer, your subconscious has to conclude either A, I am greedy, manipulative, and focused purely on my own personal gain at this person's expense, or B, I am a big-hearted and generous on a mission to serve this person and therefore must deny my own interests and avoid any hint of a result that could actually benefit me. But this is a false dilemma. Not only are self-interest and altruism not in conflict, but in fact they are two sides of the same coin. Having a giving spirit does not mean having a spirit of self-sacrifice or martyrdom. The martyr still sees a dualism between helping oneself and helping others, viewing these two as being in conflict. That's not generosity. That's just being a card-carrying codependent. The true giver sees no such conflict. The true giver knows that giving is a tide that raises all ships, and that it allows you to be a person of value to others while also doing very well for yourself. Pen drop. That's what that passage is. It's a fucking pen mic drop is what that passage is.
I didn't even highlight it because I didn't want to scribble through so much, so I just did the big brackets around it at that point. But the same passage.
Tell me that reading that didn't just clarify so much of your own issues with sales.
Yeah. I mean, I read it a few times.
You see now why you panic? Do you understand now why you panic when you talk to a prospect? Like what your brain is going to do. Your brain is going to tell you either you're greedy and manipulative and you are only out for yourself, or I'm super generous and big-hearted. I want to help, but I can't receive anything. And Kari, that's the camp you're in right now. You're in camp B. You're in camp, I'm big-hearted and generous and I want to help people, but God forbid I receive even a compliment. Like that's the level of receptivity block that we're talking about, is that even receiving a thank you is like you can't even receive that. So there is your work. You have to bridge the divide in receiving as you give, because you're very generous with your time and your energy. But again, if you have that conflict, it's more of like a codependent relationship with giving. It becomes very martyrdom. That's what it becomes, which is exhausting and does not replenish you. So imagine, I want you to take a second to imagine how much more you would feel like you had to give if you felt fulfilled. Like if you had money coming in, let's say your Beachbody business was growing, it was thriving, you were connecting with customers, you were building your team, and you felt very taken care of, like those basic needs, like you are filled, taken care of. How much more do you think you would have to offer your community? Would you be questioning your value then? I'll wait. Okay. You wouldn't be questioning your value then. You'd be like, I want to share more. All right. So understand that when you feel taken care of and you're having that flow, you have more to give. Right? Altruism. I think altruism, first of all, is selfish because it feels good to be nice. Right? So we are helpful and kind because it feels good to have people say thank you, and it feels good to know that we made a difference. So we really do it for us. Right. So if you did feel like you were taken care of and you had a really strong foundation, you probably would feel even more overflowing with your ability to share and your willingness to share, because you're not struggling to take care of yourself, right? This is really a mindset thing. And I just want you guys to understand that it makes a massive difference in how your business will flow, like where your mind is in your relationship to being given to. Okay. When you are given to, it is a blessing because it allows you to take care of yourself so you can continue to give. When you are struggling to meet your basic needs, you are in scarcity consciousness and you do not feel generous in your ability to really give the way you could. Okay. It feels exhausting. It feels depleting. Right? So know that in order for the altruism to be sincere and to be present, you have to be taken care of first. That's very, very important. I love that they wrote that in this chapter because that's so important. And this was my drive. This was my drive for generating income for myself, especially when I first started, because when I started my Beachbody business, I wasn't working as a therapist yet. I hadn't gone back from maternity leave, and I wasn't going to go back full time. I went back very, very part time because I was still exclusively breastfeeding. And I was there long hours. And this gave me the impetus to really show up. Like, I knew that if I could generate income to the point where I could like afford my Shakeology and take care of myself, that I would feel better and more available to help other people. So in the beginning, it really fueled that initial desire to like get my shit together and work my business. Yeah, so that was my driving force. This is where I started to just get my butt in gear, right? You need to start somewhere, but you need to start. You need to start really healing this mentality of me receiving is somehow a detriment to other people, or me being given to takes away from other people. No, people have money. They have the money. They want the things, right? But what they're asking for is, how can I connect to you to get the thing? Okay. How can I connect to you to get the thing? That's what they're really wanting to know. They really want you to sell them on this. Like, they want to connect with you and they want to get the thing, but they have to know how they can do that, right? They have to know that they can get that value from you. All right. What are the highlights you got?
Chapter 5, the paradox, wherein he talks about the willing suspension of self-interest. And he uses the example of watching a movie. So you watch a movie and the actor is put into like, but he uses James Bond, I think, as an example, where they put a gun to his head. And you, the viewer, know that the actor's not actually in trouble, like that it is fake. It is a movie. But you suspend your, what does it say? We willingly suspend our disbelief so that we can enjoy the moment in the movie. And that is what we do when we sell.
Yep. Yeah. It's not like, it's like Game of Thrones reference, okay? Like, you're watching Game of Thrones and you're like, none of these people are actually in danger. But good Lord, if you're watching, especially this last episode, you're like, everyone's gonna die. You're suspended that belief and you're watching this show and you're like, everyone's dead. From here, everyone's dead. And the panic is, and everybody's getting anxiety and you're all holding on to furniture and you're staring at each other like, oh my God, what's going on? And that's the power of that willful disbelief, because you are suspending yourself for a moment and jumping into the storyline and believing that this is like for real, a life that's actually happening. Same is true of the sales process. Like, in the sales process, you're willfully suspending this idea of retribution or receiving something, and you're just making yourself present with the person's story. Think of every prospect for coaching or a customer as like a story, right? Like, you're watching a mini movie. Someone comes to you and they're like, I have all this stuff going on. And you're like, tell me all the things. Just tell me all the things. Tell me your mini movie, whatever that is. Just hear them. Really be in the mini movie and help them navigate that the way you would a really good friend. Like, how would you talk to your best friend who's like, yo, I'm stuck. This thing is tripping me up. How do you work with them when they are there? That's what you want to know. You want to know how to do that for them. And in the background, you have suspended this idea of receiving something, right? Until the appropriate moment. Sometimes an opening very clearly happens where you're like, hey, have you thought about this thing that I do? And then you can introduce it, right? Sometimes that might not happen in the conversation because there's no organic opening for that, right? It doesn't matter whether it does or doesn't. The idea is that in the moment when we're connecting with people, and this is kind of why I like discovery calls, and why in our last video I encourage that, because when you're on the phone with someone, it's a lot easier to hear their mini movie and to kind of like be in their life, and then kind of talk to them in a more organic way, right? So that's why I always recommend doing that. But I thought that was also a really powerful analogy. It's a paradox. If you go about creating value for others with the ulterior motive of receiving more value yourself, it tends to show through on some level and sabotage the result. What Ernesto is suggesting is that instead you give without emotional attachment to the return, knowing full well that there will be a return. So really it's the suspension of attachment is really what we're talking about. Don't get attached. Don't get emotionally attached to the experience. Just let the experience be what it is. Just knowing inside that every good deed that you show up and do has reciprocity. It's impossible for good deeds to go unnoticed energetically in the world, like metaphysically speaking. Every time that you help someone or do a good deed, it's like you're putting some money in an energy bank. Trust me when I say this. It's like you're putting some money in an energy bank, putting the money in the energy bank, and there will be a time and place when that money will cash out for you in a maybe a different roundabout. But no good deed goes unnoticed, like energetically, ever. So that is kind of like the metaphysical backup to what they're teaching you in these principles. This is why it works. The last segment of economy, I thought that story of Natalia, or it was Heather, was powerful, where she got like fired from her job basically, and then her and a whole bunch of executives created a like organization to help other people get jobs. You know, even though she needed a job, she focused her attention with these other execs on creating an organization that would help people find a job, and it just became this like passion project of theirs. I thought that was so powerful. Such a good example. I loved this. In fact, here's a remarkable thing. When you follow the 5 laws, you create your own economy. Of course, you still live in the context of society. Do economic conditions at large still affect you? Sure they do, but they don't dictate the course of your life. You stand on the shore, the tide ebbing and flowing, the surf running over your feet and tugging at your legs, but you have the choice. You can plant yourself solidly on your own moorings or simply go with the tide like the rest of the driftwood. So practically speaking, what do you actually do? First, decide that regardless of what's going on around you, your economic climate is excellent. This is exactly what I teach to all of my TAU students about circumstances being neutral. You get to decide what you feel always. Circumstances do not tell you how you feel. You tell you how you feel. Always. That is true. We're not suggesting you live in denial. Hard times are hard times. But realize that the flux of human economies is to an extraordinary extent a state of mind. The condition of your personal market is largely up to you. Again, attitudes are contagious. This passage is everything. This was everything for me. I don't know about y'all, but this was everything for me. I'm going to underline it because I didn't the first time. All right, just did. So good. That was the end of that first segment, right? Law of value. Then we're going to the law of compensation for next week. All right, any last minute anythings? We're almost at the hour. Feedback, takeaways, anything you want to share? Nope. All right, lovies. Well, that's it. That's the whole first segment of the book. If you have not purchased the book, highly recommend reading it. It's an amazing book. I can already tell it's going to be one of those books that you reference a lot. Powerful principles and a powerful way to shift your perspective on sales. If you're someone who really struggles with getting behind sales, it's very important that you begin to see it through this lens. It will optimize your experience and totally change you from running from prospects or running from the sales conversation. It'll open you up into the conversation because the pressure is off. You now know your only job is to be in the movie with the person that you're talking to. That's it. To figure out how you can help them. Maybe it is referring them to someone else. Maybe it is giving them something completely unrelated to your business. Maybe it is giving them a recipe or something simple like that. But if you're always looking for opportunities to serve without being attached to how you serve them, you will always have an opportunity to serve them with what you have. Let me say that again. If you're always looking for opportunities to serve without being attached to how you serve those people, you will always be given a platform to serve people with what you personally have to offer because you're opening the gateway for sharing and giving service. Okay, so I leave you with that thought. Next week, we'll go into the law of compensation. I'm going to upload this video right now and hopefully it will show up. And subscribe to the channel and catch all the rest of our team calls on there. All right, darlings. I love y'all. Have a good night. Bye.